Kove 450 Rally. Hello everybody. This video is going to be a little bit long, but I will go in detail for all the add-ons that I made to the 450 Rally, and it should be very interesting, especially for all the people who want to set up their bike like me for long traveling. And I want to thank Diego Marchesini and his website, which I suggest you to visit because it's full of suggestions, very useful suggestions. And and first, why the 450 Rally? Well, my experience, it's for long traveling. I've traveled almost all around Asia, India, all around Africa, and I had South America as well, of course. I had this, for example, in Africa, I had a KTM 500 EXC, and before that also the 690 Enduro R. And so why this bike now? Well, this bike, the Kove 450 Rally, it's something in between, because I wanted to have definitely a light bike. When you do long travels like me, solo, you need a bike, and you do also a lot of off-road. You need a bike that is light enough that you can lift in any condition, mud, and you are on your own. So you can't have a two-cylinder bike that is 200 kilos or more. So this is one of the main reasons. This is the first reason. Then this bike has 3 tanks, and altogether it can hold 31 liters. Therefore, you can do easily 600 kilometers even, and that is helpful, especially when you travel in remote areas where petrol is not easily available. Then this bike is only 145 kilos. So, as I said, it's in between a 500 EXC and a 690 Enduro R. And on top of that, this bike has a road-derived engine. So, let's say it's not, although it's for rallies, oil changes are not as often as let's say a normal enduro KTM. Then what else? That's why. I mean, although it's for rallies, it's not super. It's not too difficult to drive, let's say, but it has to be a little bit attuned to, in this case, to my needs. So let's go in detail what I've done. So right now here I have the normal wheels, but I will soon have one of my sponsors' products by Warp 9, totally new rims, and I will have them converted to tubeless by Rydec in Italy, and they do a very good job to convert even motocross tires like these ones, and so this is what I'm going to do very soon. And this particular model that I have of the Kove 450 Rally is you see, there are two models. One's the so-called standard and the Pro version. The Pro version comes with mousse, so no tube inside the tire, and that's what I've got here. I've got this model, which I got from Kove, USA, is an in-between the Pro and the Standard. I think it's called Standard Off-Road or something like that. So it comes with many features similar to the Pro version. I'll tell you more about it as I go along. So tires. First, it's important. I use tires with mousse inside, but because the rims have been converted to tubeless, I also use air, and that I think it's a good choice. It's the first time I do this, but it doesn't have the problems that mousses normally have, that overheating. So as long as you keep the pressure right, the mousse inside does not overheat because of the air, and and you don't have the danger of punctures. I mean, it's easy to repair, very easy, and you can, and so you have all the advantages of mousses without, let's say, the disadvantages. As you can see here, I balanced the tire. I balanced both front and rear tires, because when you go at over 100 kilometers per hour, then the wheels tend to kind of tremble. so they need to be balanced when you go on asphalt. So this is for the front. I haven't done anything to the brakes, the front brakes, but I've done lots to the I revision immediately the front and the rear suspensions. So what I've done, and I've used here Carminati Motorsport here in Mexico. Actually, Carminati is an ex-world champion, enduro world champion. This was quite an honor to have him set up my bike. So the revision was to change the some of the components inside, and because they were not good quality. But the front suspension itself, it's like a Showa 49 millimeters, so it's very good. And so once you do that, you will have an excellent suspension. What I've done here, I added two things. One is the in Italian it's called para oil. So it I don't remember exactly the word in English. So you avoid oil coming out, or oil leakage, and also I added, this is it's for mud, to be sure the mud cannot go inside. I mounted this because I often go into regions that can have mud, and so I've used them all over Africa, and I think it's pretty useful. This and the components inside are both by this is SFK, an Italian company, and they make excellent components for suspensions. I also mounted a different skid plate, and as you can see, it's pretty thick, yeah, almost 1 centimeter thick, and it's by Molecule Motorsports, and this is another one of my technical partners, and it's very sturdy. I mounted this skid plate because the standard carbon skid plate, it's very thin, and well, it's not very safe, and it breaks quite easily as soon as you go on rocks. So this is, it's a kind of plastic type of well, it's a special type of plastic, but yeah, it's reasonably heavy, but it's very strong, and it doesn't make the horrible ding that the aluminium skid plates do, and it does an excellent job. So what else? I mounted here these protectors, side protectors, in case the bike falls over, because this is a a fuel tank, and you don't want to damage it. So this actually, on both sides, it protects it. So still on this side, you can see that the front section, the curve of the exhaust, I put some heat protector. It's a wrap-up heat protector, and I'll go on the other side, show on the right tank here. As you can see, I put a heat shield. Apparently some of the new models, 2024 models, come with the heat shield already, but this one didn't have it, so I mounted it myself. And this heat shield is needed because the exhaust is so close that heats up the fuel inside the tank, and it creates problems with the tank itself. That it's actually the fuel starts to boil inside. So in order to avoid that, you need to do these two things: wrap up the first section with heat protector, and a heat shield on the right tank. On the left tank, on this side, the heat shield is not needed, and yes, as you can see here on this side, there is another side protector, and then up here all the front section, the handlebar is changed. It has changed considerably. I mean, first because I knew I was going to use a GPS or tablet, and this is the Carpe Eater 4B. I will soon probably going to have the 4C as well. So in order to mount this tablet, you need a support, and the standard support, which is plastic, which supports the TFT, which is here, is not strong enough, and it doesn't have any space. So I mounted a rally tower, and this particular model is a rally tower Model A by Uncle Wang, which is a Chinese website that has lots and lots of accessories for this bike, and many others as well. And this rally tower it's all aluminum and extremely light. It's 110, yes, 101 kilo and 100 grams, and it's very sturdy. As long as you put in all these balls, you put Loctite, and you will have no problem. It's extremely steady. And another thing I've done, I moved the indicators. As you can see, the indicators, I moved them up here, because they are normally here. They are normally on this side here, only one on either side, of course. And to mount the indicators up here, they are more protected in case of a fall, whereas here you will break them straight away. So that's what I've done. Then by putting the rally tower, I also added a larger, higher windshield. I think it's called, I got it still from Uncle Wang, I think, or maybe from Kove, USA. And yeah, it's about 7 to 8 centimeters higher, and it protects the wind a little bit more. By the way, this sunshade that you see mounted on the tablet, I've done it myself, because although this tablet is extremely bright, it's 100 or 1000 nits, when you have the sun is on your side, so hits the tablet, you will have too much sun on the tablet and it will be difficult. Instead, with the sunshade, it's much better. You know, the only problem you will still have with sun is when the sun is 3/4 back. When it's right behind you, it's not a problem because you will shade it yourself. But when it's 3/4 back, you know, at an angle, let's say like this, you will still have some sun on the screen, and that maybe make it difficult to read. But with the sunshade is, well, let's say 90% better. Then going to the handlebar, if you see on this side, this one on the right side, and this one, these commands are for the tablet. So I can, without taking my hands off the handlebar, I can command like zoom in, zoom out, any map, and you know, move the screen left, right, up and down. So that's very useful. I don't have to wipe left, right with my finger, which normally it's a bother with a phone, because especially when you're doing off-road, you don't want to, of course, you want to keep your hands on the handlebar. So another thing I've done, as you can see on the handlebar, is actually I changed the handlebar, because the standard handlebar is very thin and delicate, especially of course if you fall, so it's easy to bend, whereas the Pro Taper XY model that I mounted is thicker, twice as thick as the standard model, and so this is of course a very important feature for me, because, as I said, I travel solo and sometimes in remote areas. So if you have a problem with your handlebar, or you have hand guards, for example, that they bend your handlebar, you know, you are kind of stuck. And in order to avoid those problems, as I said, I mounted a reinforced handlebar which makes much easier to mount any handguards you like, because the OEM handlebar is non-standard. So the diameter of the handlebar here is non-standard. So not all the handguards can be mounted. In my case, I mounted this special, and this is the strongest. This is by HDB Off-Road handguards. These are the strongest handguards you can mount, and one feature is it has two swinging mirrors, as you can see, and the handlebars is the strongest, as I said, the handguards, the strongest you can have. And with this feature, you can use the mirror for on-road, and when you're doing off-road, you can swing it back in, and so you're sure that you are not going to break your mirrors. As I said, it's by HDB Off-Road, American company. And in order to mount these handguards, you need razors. As you can see, I've got razors here, and also you will have a clamp right here in the center where the handguards are, as you can see, are mounted to. Okay, and yes, you can get in touch with this company, and they can supply all the right components. What I've done to the handlebars, well, I added this motorbike is already set up to receive a steering damper, and you can mount the Chinese version, whereas I mounted, in my view, a better one, which is by Scott's Performance, and which I had on my KTM before. So I just took it off and mounted on the Kove 450 Rally. I mean, it's the Chinese cost, I think, about $100 more or less, and the Scott cost 4 times as much. But it's supposed to be better for off-road, because the Chinese version is more like a on-road steering damper. So for off-road, you wanted the handlebar to be... Oh, anyway, it has some features for it. So I think it's a better version, and I had it anyway. So up here, what I've done, I told you, I explained you the problem the fuel tank can have because of the fuel boiling inside. So normally it has these two tanks are connected together with a single pipe breather. So I removed that and I put 2 separate breathers, as you can see here, with a valve. I got the valve. You can get valves from different companies. Acerbis makes it. I got it directly from Uncle Wang as well. And up here I mounted one of my accessories by Enduristan, which is this how I call it, fuel bag or front bag. I don't know exactly. It's what is good because it's the right size. I mean, it's not huge, of course, and it's never in the way. It's never in the way, but you can keep your cameras or your money or a little tool like the Enduro tool that I often use, and so it's very useful, and it's not in the way when you're standing, and it's just a few liters, so it's it's never in the way, which is good. And as you can see, it's easy to mount without bothering or being bothered by the two fuel caps. So what else here? Okay, let's go down and show you something else. Okay, down here, as you can see, this is a fuel tap. Okay, just to let you know, the two front tanks are connected together, and the connector, I cannot show it to you right now, is usually made of plastic. And so I changed, in order to prevent any possible problem, I changed it to a metal connector. And similarly, there is another connector here in this position, another plastic connector that connects it to the rear tank. And this rear tank, the petrol goes just by gravity goes to the front tank as well. But what I decided is to put, as you can see, a fuel tap here. So I keep it always closed. So I use the rear tank only for reserve. I keep only like 3 liters at the back, and I never fill it up, and I only use the front tanks. So this fuel tap is by Motion Pro, and but also other companies make it, similar one. What I suggest you is to buy one that is made for fuel, because otherwise it may have the O-rings that are not right for fuel, and they're not proper. Then I use only fuel in the front tanks, because when you drive, unless you drive on sand and dunes where you want to have the weight at the back, it's better to have the weight at the front, well, especially here because it's low, in order to make the bike more sturdy, stable also. So I only use the front tanks, and only, as I said, the rear tank just for reserve 3 liters. Then here, as you can see, I have a little accessory, a protection of the pump, of the rear brake pump. I put this protection because you can heat it, especially with the back of your boots. And as well, this is actually very useful. Many people are looking for something to protect the chassis of the bike, because you tend to scratch it here. So I put a neoprene sheet that it's adhesive, and I cut it to size. As you can, it's on both sides, and it protects the chassis here, all of it. Then this exhaust is a central section. The decat was already removed, and this is the whole Pro version, the titanium version. And I added also a heat shield, steel by Enduristan, here, in order to protect the side bags in case they touch the exhaust. Okay, let's go on the other side and see what else I can tell you about. Yes, definitely much more. Okay, here, this is the skid plate. There is enough space if you want to put, I know some people done it, to put some tools, and maybe you can use like a Velcro here and make like a little sausage. But it has to be, of course, waterproof, and you can put it here. For now, I've decided not to do it, but some people do. It's just a suggestion. Okay, then here, as you can see, there is the same protection up here for the chassis that I told you about on the other side. Then at the back, I've done a few things. Okay, the rear sprocket normally comes standard with a 49 tooth rear sprocket. Mine actually came with a 51, and it uses the same, let's say, standard chain. What I did, I changed to a 52 tooth sprocket in order to have more pickup at a low revs, which normally this bike has a little bit of a problem with. So I put a 52, but I had to change chain. So this chain is a 120 links, and I think you need to remove 2 of them in order to, because otherwise it would be too loose. And so I changed the chain to a dead chain, and I also changed it for the chain guard to an Acerbis, because this model is made of plastic, and it tends to bend or adapt more easily to bangs, to any heat. And when it's old, you can actually change only the central part and replace when it gets worn out. Whereas the OM version is made of metal, and it can bend, and it can even create you problems. So I changed that, as I said, to this Acerbis, I think version 2 model. And then what else? Okay, here I got the Enduristan Blizzard XL saddlebags. I've got 2 versions of the same bags, and this is the older version, which I used in Africa, and this is the one I use, let's say, for every day, and the newer model I use it for trips. And right now I'm still on a temporary number plate. I'm just waiting here in Mexico to receive the new one. And yeah, the rear tire has the same configuration like the front one, with moose. So they are tubeless. The rims are tubeless, and inside there is mousse and air. And so it's much safer like that, and is used in motor rallies as well. So I'm not the first person who does this, but not many people do. And for me, instead of carrying like I normally do 2 extra tubes, I can carry a simple tubeless repair kit, and the mousse can last even 20,000 kilometers. So especially if you handle them properly. What else will I do? There are still a few changes that I will make to this motorbike. Another change that I made here is I mounted, as you can see, a wider seat. This area is wider than standard. It's a little bit more comfortable, especially for long traveling, and is still provided by Ankle Wang. And the changes that I'm going to make soon is to remove the ABS altogether. And in order to do that, you need to make, like a normal enduro bike, cables that go from your front brakes directly to the front wheel, and from the rear pump brakes, you need direct cables directly to the wheels. And when you do that, you can remove altogether the ABS sensor, which is here, and so will save you a little bit of weight as well. Another thing that I will do for sure, I have already got the equipment with me, is to change and personalize the graphic kit with my Bibo and Agape name, and yes, with a different color scheme. Then I've been thinking if I'm going to change and use only the GPS, because the GPS I can use it for speed, as a speedometer as well. I can connect it to the central underneath the seat. There is let's say a centralized connection, like the computer, the onboard computer. And you can put an ODB plug, which is a Bluetooth transmitter, and you can transmit the details of your trip, the speed, all the things that you normally see on the TFT. They can be transmitted directly to the GPS by Bluetooth. So I can do perhaps without, I know I can do without the TFT. So I can have only the GPS and mount it right about here. And if I want, I can even get rid of the starting key, and have a starting, you need an on-off button to turn the electric system on, and then you can on off the bike from your normal connections, normal buttons. Another thing that I've done, that I'm not going to show it to you right now, but is that here underneath there is the battery. I changed the standard battery to I think a 14 or 12 or 14 ampere battery, which is it has much more energy, because I did it for safety, especially because I'm using more electrical components, and therefore I need more energy to for these components as well. And here at the back there is the so-called ECU, and I'm mounting the Pro version because I have the Pro filter, the Pro exhaust, and the Pro ECU. Yeah, what else? yeah, not much else. Maybe I will change to a slimmer version of the mudguard, but this is just aesthetics. What I've tried to do is to normally make better ergonomics for traveling. I'm a 6'2", 188 person tall, so standing on these foot pegs, which are rally foot pegs, so therefore pretty wide and comfortable. I can stand on those foot pegs, and standing here with the handlebars, because I've got razors as well, is very comfortable. And the other feature is of course, to be comfortable on your seat for long hours. This is also very important. And I haven't changed much in terms of speed, let's say, because it's already powerful enough. Normally I don't do more than 110, 120 kilometers per hour. Actually, I decreased the power. No, the power, yes, I decreased the speed of the bike because I changed the rear sprocket to have a little bit more pickup. And I haven't touched the engine, and so that's about it. So if you have any question about yes, what to do or what not to do, please don't be afraid asking, because I can tell you that now I know this bike inside out. And a little feature, for example, you can see here underneath the protector I put a slight shield, a rubber shield, in order not to scratch the exhaust, the silencer. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I hope you enjoyed, especially if you like this bike, the Kove 450 Rally. I hope you enjoyed it and you find this video useful, although very long. So if you like the video, please subscribe and push the bell button, so you will get notification about my future travels, journeys in Mexico and down to Central America. So all the best to everybody.